Man, this old bum ass put his ass in the dirt.
Well, we knew that was coming. Talk about the inevitable. So, Errol Spence and Terence Crawford both gave their reaction to Blair the Flair Cobbs getting TKO'd by Alexis Rocha, where Errol Spence said, quote, Rocha beating Red Ass off 5 heartbeats, laughing emojis, put his ass in the dirt. He need to be fined for punching the referee when he was just trying to save him. Laughing emojis. In addition to that, Crawford also gave his reaction by stating, quote, all that talking his ass been doing, shake my head. Just looked stupid. End of the quote. Listen, one thing memorable we all not gonna forget is Blair Cobbs' hair flaring around whenever he utilized blocking punches with his phase technique. It just made the fight extra graphical where you couldn't possibly miss Blair Cobbs getting hit. More importantly, the fighters on the coincidental list have to realize being a boxer nowadays is not enough. A fighter has to utilize the moment, then capture it, especially if the moment/opportunity comes walking into him. What do I mean by that? Well, let me explain. Recently, Blair Cobbs ran up on Jaron Ennis. Man, I would have never thought I would see the day, but I did. Nevertheless, I really couldn't comprehend why Jaron Ennis brushed Blair Cobbs off. Then, on a later interview, Jaron Ennis said that Blair Cobbs is not on his level. Why would he give him an opportunity? Which didn't make a whole lot of sense because Jaron Ennis is calling out Errol Spence and Crawford, and clearly, he's not on their level, at least not right now. Crawford and Errol Spence are not just champions at the welterweight division. They also happen to be number 1 and number 2 pound for pound in the entire sport of boxing. Even if Jaron Ennis meant Blair Cobbs is not on his level as far as ability, well, guess what? There is no fighter on the come up at the welterweight division that's on Jaron Ennis level. At least not right now. So what is Jaron Ennis supposed to do? Sit there and do nothing since nobody is on his level? Of course not. And if Jaron Ennis meant that Blair Cobbs was not on his level as far as rankings, at the very least he was ranked as a top prospect, which is more than enough credentials for him to get in the ring with Jaron Ennis, at least at that moment in time. The point I'm trying to make is not to nitpick Jaron Ennis' comments, but more importantly to focus on the fact that Jaron Ennis wasn't giving Blair Cobbs an opportunity. No, absolutely not. The only thing he was giving Blair Cobbs was an ass whooping. It's the contrary. Blair Cobbs was the one that was giving Jaron Ennis an opportunity. That's right. Blair Cobbs was giving Jaron Ennis an opportunity to make a moment, a highlight reel, an NFT, then sell it. A perfect example of trash talking going wrong. Blair Cobbs was gonna sell the fight by trash talking, all to just get knocked out in the first round by Jaron Ennis. Now, who was that gonna benefit? All of that hype of Jaron Ennis knocking out a hot prospect, an undefeated hot prospect. It sure wasn't gonna benefit Blair the Flair, because Jaron Ennis would have hit Blair Cobbs so hard. He would have turned him into Blair Ballhead Cobbs. Therefore, I just can't comprehend why Jaron Ennis let someone like Blair the Flair play with his boogeyman status, and passed on this opportunity. Listen, I would understand if Jaron Ennis has as many fighters lined up to fight him as Conor Ben does. Then if he passed on this opportunity, it's no biggie. But the fact that Jaron Ennis is the boogeyman, where each time Jaron Ennis is trying to secure a fight, 20 fighters turn down a fight with him every single time. That's when Jaron Ennis should almost be desperate for an opportunity, especially when the opportunity comes walking into him the way Blair Cobbs did. I'm not exactly sure how Jaron Ennis' contract with Showtime works, but if I was his manager, due to the fact that Jaron Ennis is only 24 years old, I would keep him as active as possible. So since he fought Delorme last year and knocked him out in the first round, the best thing for Jaron Ennis' career was to bring him right back to fight Blair the Flair in March, which most likely would have resulted in another first round knockout. Then bring him right back on May 14th for his title eliminator for the IBF. It's best to keep Jaron Ennis active, fighting 4 times a year, since he is still a contender. And if Blair Cobbs turned down the Jaron Ennis fight, then at the very least, Jaron Ennis caught his bluff. Instead of allowing Blair the Flair play with his boogeyman status, hype his name, then end up losing to Rocha, hyping Rocha up instead of taking that momentum and utilizing that moment for himself. This is exactly how all the fighters on the coincidental list should move. This applies to all of the fighters on the coincidental list, more importantly, all of the boogeymen. Take whatever opportunity comes your way. You are not going to be treated like others. You are not going to be given the opportunities like others. That's the Floyd Mayweather green print. People think Floyd Mayweather just became Money Mayweather when he had to take losses, sacrifices, and chances in order to get to his position. So fighters nowadays has to be as smart outside of the ring when it comes to the political aspect and the double standards as they are inside of the ring. With the facts being laid out, drop your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe below, and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, TV. Peace, and I'm on to the next one.
He's afraid of Terence Crawford. What was making that fight so long? He waited so long that he became devastated. If you don't do what's right, you will be cursed. And guess what happens? We don't see him fight for anything for a long time. One injury after the next. Car injury, this injury, eye injury. He missed the opportunity to beat Pacquiao. What now? He's a coward. And I don't respect cowards. I know he's a good fighter, but he's a coward.
I don't see strength in Errol Spence's eyes. I don't see Errol Spence winning that fight. Something's going to happen again, and he's going to lose that fight. If he doesn't lose it outside the ring, he will lose that fight inside the ring. He held on to those belts for far too long. He kept pushing back and pushing back and pushing back the idea of fighting Terence Crawford until he gets cursed. I mean, hell, things like that happens inside and outside the ring. You have to be willing to prove that you're great.